Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PDPMO. I once again am your host, Richard. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Steven Spielberg directed musical West Side Story. Before I jump in, I'd just like to extend my best wishes. I hope you had a good Christmas or other holiday, and I hope you had a good New Year's wherever you are. I hope you're happy and safe. Um, Again, thank you to everyone for support. Just keep liking, keep sharing those videos. Um, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So, West Side Story. I'm gonna jump right in. Again, here's a quick review of if I liked it or not, and then I'll get into the spoilers later. So, West Side Story. I'm going on the assumption that at some point you've been made aware of the story of West Side Story, so it's not like I'm coming out of left field. It is a musical. The musical is by Stephen Sondheim, based on the Shakespearean play Romeo and Juliet. Um, I am a huge fan of the original. Uh, Won Best Picture. Rita Moreno won Best Supporting Actress. Uh, I was really worried about a remake of such a classic because I am such a fan. But again, I am a firm believer in PDPMO, so I went in not expecting good, not expecting bad, just let's see what you did with it. And Steven Spielberg is one of my all-time favorite directors, so directing a musical is just something completely different, though. So I was concerned, but I went in with an open mind. One thing I did not want to do was compare this one to the original while I was watching it. I firmly believe, especially in a remake situation, that you don't. The same applies to sequels. I try not to compare them to either the original or the part one. About halfway through the movie, I found that it was impossible. I was comparing the two because there are some changes to this new one, which I'll get into later. Uh, but about halfway through, I realized that I was staring at this screen, comparing it to the original, and I was wearing my mask, and I was grinning like a ninny. Like I cannot begin to tell you how much I loved this musical. What Spielberg was able to pull off here is nothing short of miraculous. It was beautifully done. The cast across the board were just amazing. I would like to see. I would like to see this get several Oscar nominations. I'd like to see it get Best Picture nomination. I'd like to see it get the Best Director nomination. There are a couple of performances that I'd like to single out. The first one being Ariana DeBose, who played Anita. I know it's still early, but she'd be a pick for me for Best Supporting Actress nomination. I thought she was brilliant. She's relatively new to movies. She's got a pretty extensive Broadway career. She had an ensemble part in Hamilton, which another musical, but that's not really a movie. That was just like a recorded a recording of the stage play. But she was great in that. But she stole the show in this movie. So I'll get into the specifics a little later on. So yeah, if you hate musicals, like if you absolutely hate musicals, as in like you're watching a movie and then a song and dance number comes up and you're like, why do they have to put music in? This movie's not for you. If you love musicals, I can't guarantee that you're going to love this movie. But as far as musicals go, this would be the one I would be most surprised, like most surprised of any musical ever, if you did not like this movie. It was brilliant. And then if you're on the fence, if you're like, whatever, check it out. because it is so good it might get you to like musicals. But yeah, so two thumbs up, 11 out of 10, like whatever you want to score it. Perfect movie. Can't wait to watch it again. Great performances. And the choreography and everything was just wonderful. So for those of you who don't want to know anything about it, thank you for stopping by, and I will catch you on the next one. For those of you who are gonna stick around, let's go. So the movie starts, and Spielberg does this amazing thing because it's all about life in New York City, and there's this place that's like really run down, and they're tearing it down, in gentrification. Um, and the way he films the beginning, he's done some great historical pieces like Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, and you get these camera angles and these shots of the ruins of the buildings, and it looks like a war movie. I thought that was wonderful. Like it's just like here we go, and then it's musical time. So we're introduced to the characters, the Jets and the Sharks. The Jets being the American street gang, and the Sharks are the Puerto Rican street gang who's moved into the area because immigrants are moving to New York, and there's some turf situation going on. I will say, I shame on me. I had some preconceived ideas about what I expected some characters to look like. Primarily Riff. For some reason, I had this vision of Riff, and when I saw Mike Faced, who plays Riff, immediately I was like, nope. And shame on me. I should be a lot more open-minded like that, and in the spirit of honesty, I am letting you know that I actually had a preconceived notion, and that goes against PDPMO. Bad PDPMO. But wow, he was so perfect in the role. Like I cannot begin to express how wonderful he is. He is in the role. Whenever I think of the character Riff now, he is what comes to mind. And huge props to him. Again, relatively unknown. Most of the people in this movie are relative unknowns, and I think that really helped in how the movie came across. There are a couple of, obviously, screen legend Rita Moreno is back playing a different role. She doesn't play Anita in this one. She actually plays the shop owner, which is a gender switch because in the original it was a guy. Again, I have no problem with gender switches, and getting Rita Moreno back on stage in West Side Story. I mean, that's just gold. That's just smart. But yeah, watching these relative unknowns was really fun to watch because you didn't know what to expect, and what I got was just this amazing heartfelt performance. It's like when you're watching sports and you're watching college athletes versus the NFL or I was about to say CFL, but we're talking pros. I mean, come on, CFL. But like baseball or the NHL or whatever, the college stuff is where you get the real passion because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And that's the feel of this entire movie. Everyone is just trying to establish themselves. Like the lead played Tony. I've only known him from like Baby Driver and stuff like that. I didn't even know he could sing, but quite a good little voice on him, and he really gets to like shine in the song and dance kind of guy, which I did not expect. The characters like Bernardo and of course Maria. She's only got a couple of screen credits, like just like a couple of screen credits. She was wonderful, and the part where I was grinning was actually the musical number America, where the Puerto Ricans are dancing and singing about being in America versus being in Puerto Rico. And it starts, just a few of them, and then it moves into this whole city feel, and like there's kids dancing, and it's just, oh, I just got swept away. I got absolutely swept away. So in the movie, like I said, it is an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. So in the movie, the Jets and the Sharks are at war with each other over the turf, and Tony, who's a former member of the Jets, but you know when you're a Jet for life, falls in love with Maria, who is the younger sister of the Sharks um, leader Bernardo. Again, great performance. Uh, so obviously there that creates issues between the two groups, and you know, much like in any great tragedy, there's tragedy, right? So again, I'm not going to go into spoiler, just in case you're like that one person who knows nothing about West Side Story. Go check it out. I'm just going to be talking about like the broad strokes of the story, but yeah. So it's this conflict that really, it's unfortunate that it's still relevant, because the original West Side Story was, I believe, 1960, and you're dealing with race relations in the like intolerance of Puerto Ricans moving to New York City. You flash forward 60 years later, and those same issues are still being dealt with. And Spielberg handles it like the magician that he is. Like, it's just, he handles it straight in your face and also subtly, um, which I just find just amazing to me. Like him as a filmmaker, he just blows me away every time. Um, but there's this intolerance for the Puerto Ricans, and there's a scene late in the movie. This is a perfect example of how the movie is modernized, because in the 1960 version, uh, Anita, who was played by Rita Moreno, goes to the place where the Jets are to pass a message, and the Jets don't want her there, so they kind of like attack her. Even and she eventually realizes what these guys are really all about and gives them a different message. In this one, although the attack was handled, it was handled in a 1960 way. They didn't really get into the specifics of it, because in 1960 those types of things were alluded to. They weren't really spoken about. But in this version, um, you know, Anita shows up, I mean, to pass the message, and there are some of the Jet's girlfriends are there, and so when the guys start to attack her, the girls try to get her out, which I thought was a much more compelling telling of that situation, because the guys would be subjected to this mob mentality, and the girls, seeing what was happening, are trying to get them out, and the guys eventually throw the girls out and lock the door, and they attack Anita, and then of course the attack is broken up. So Rita Moreno's character, who's the one who breaks it up, ironically, she was the one who being attacked in the original. Uh, she looks at them and says flat out, like I've known you since you were born, and you've turned to rapists. You couldn't have gotten away with that kind of language in 1960, but you know, 61 years later, because this came out last year, uh, you can say what it is. You don't need to be like, oh, like were they going to attack her? This is what was happening. So I love when directors are able to actually not pull any punches and say this is what this is. A couple of changes in like songs that was really neat. In the original, "Somewhere" is a beautiful love song sung between Tony and Maria. In this one, it's Rita Moreno who sings the song, and she sings it kind of lamenting about what's happened and what's happened to the neighborhood and and the people. It brought a whole different meaning to the song, which I loved, because there's like, you take West Side Story, you still get West Side Story, but now there's an extra layer because you get to enjoy the differences between the original and the sequel, and again, sequel remake. And again, I am a huge fan of the original, but this remake, for me, it is one for the ages. Like, I really can't express how much I enjoyed this movie. Um, and yeah, I'd like to see them get some Oscar nominations, particularly Best Picture, and Anita. She'll. I am so looking forward to seeing where her career goes, because if she can pull off a performance of that magnitude that early in her um, career, the sky is the limit for this young woman. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that play out. Um, so yeah, if you get a chance, check out West Side Story. I hope you like it as much as I did. But even if you just thought it was really good, then that's good enough for me. Yeah, just beautiful. That's all I can say. It was beautifully done. Tip of the cap, Steven Spielberg. Thank you for raising the bar um, for what musicals can become, especially when it's a remake. It's not like something original you've never seen before. This is a remake, and to elevate a remake, like the original won the best picture. And in my opinion, this one is better. So how do you do better than a best picture? West Side Story. So yeah, check it out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it. Keep watching movies. Feel free to click like. Feel even more free to click subscribe. Share these movies. Share these videos. Let's get them out there. Let's get the talk going. I'm having a lot of fun. This is a passion of mine. So yeah, let's keep the spirit up and hope that 2022 is a decent year for us all. Talk to you guys soon.